Welcome to Walk the Plank. It's week 15 of the Perry Athletic Department podcast that will get into everything sort of behind the scenes with the Perry Athletic Department and what's coming up on the future, what's happened in the last couple of weeks since this welcome back. We've taken a week off for the Thanksgiving holiday, but we are back and better than ever, ready to go here as we wrap up our fall sports season and kick off our winter sports season sort of all in one. And I'm joined as always by my co-host here, Mr. Gene Winters. Gene, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's another exciting week. It was, it seemed like we just started fall. Now it's over and winter sports are now up and running.
It's been a whirlwind. August 1 is when fall practices started and just concluded. Our last fall event of the season was Friday, November 22nd. A hard-fought loss to Glenville on the football field down at Nordonia in the Elite 8 game. So football, and we've got a couple of football guys with us here today. We'll get to them in just a minute. But fall season, all in all, was a great success for the Perry Pirates. And a shout-out and thanks to all of our coaches and our athletes and our parents and our entire community and support staff here at Perry that make it possible. Tony Ovens, my assistant, our custodial staff, our transportation department. We went through all of these people at the Fall Sports Awards night, but never enough time to really thank all of them that, again, sort of behind the scenes people that sort of make everything tick and move forward here in the world of Perry Athletics. So, but we're moving on to winter, and we're excited for that as well.
Yeah, a couple of events that are taking place this week, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But the easiest way to wrap up the fall season is, as you mentioned, with two football players to wrap up another exciting season here in Perry.
Yep, and immediately to my right is Luke Savon, and next to him is Carter Hopkins. They get they are athletes of the week. Even though we took a week off, they both had fantastic games in the Glenville, and both of them could have easily been on this show anytime throughout the fall. They really were leaders of our team in a lot of different ways, but they do get their free meal deal at Dairy Queen along with the Blizzard, so we thank you to DQ for supporting our program here and Walk the Plank. So, guys, let's just start with, I guess, just a quick recap of that Glenville game. We lost in overtime, 12-6. Not obviously the way we wanted to go, but we knew it was going to be a hard-fought game. I had said to people all week, probably a low-scoring game. The weather didn't help either. But let's start with you, Luke. Just your takeaway from that game and what you saw from the Glenville Tar Blooders that evening.
Yeah, obviously the game, not the way we wanted to go, but that's probably the most talented team we played.
Yeah.
My 4 years being here and stuff like that.
Yep.
And we fought hard. Made it to overtime and just couldn't
yeah,
get it
we were
done.
Probably an extra point away from taking the lead. They missed their extra point. They take a 6-0 lead in the first half, and we come out with like a 9-minute drive to start the third quarter and score to tie it at 6-6. And I think the extra point was going to be good. Sincere Johnson, their stud linebacker, made a heck of a play.
Yeah.
And as we saw the replays after the game, to come through and just make sort of an unhuman play, like he jumped out of the gym, so to speak, and just got a piece of it to ricochet it to the left. But Carter Hopkins actually scored that touchdown in that game. Scored a lot of touchdowns this year. Carter, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but every time I think we turned around, we heard Carter Hopkins scoring a touchdown. It seemed like this year, a lot of them on the ground, but that one was a pass. So that was it third down, second down? You remember? You have no idea. You just caught the ball and scored.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as a sophomore, let's just talk a little bit about, I guess, your season and your experience with playing with these seniors, our 14 seniors, and you coming in sort of being the new guy. You were out there last year as a freshman with the state championship team. Didn't have a huge role probably, but at the same point now you're sort of new and we're trying to repeat. How have you adjusted to your role, as only a sophomore on a really, really talented football team?
Well, I've had people to help me, like Luke and Walter. They really put me in my place. And, yeah.
And Mr. Rockwell was mentioning coming out of halftime of that Glenville game.
Yeah.
What was the message at halftime, and what did you guys do well offensively to get down and be able to score on that first possession?
Well, the message was just keep playing. There's mistakes that happen every play, and we just kept playing, and it just didn't go our way.
All right, and then, as far as the moving into the previous week against Streetsboro, again, both of you guys have huge games. We put 45 points up on the board. We hold them to 21. They made that run in the second quarter to cut it to 24-21, and then we scored 21 unanswered points. Again, an undefeated team in Streetsboro, right there in the mix, in the top 4 teams in our region. So let's just recap that game as well a little bit. How did you guys respond at halftime? Again, there, 24-21 close game. Same message from the coach: keep playing, keep doing our thing.
Yeah, so coming into that week, we scored 3 points previously against Struthers, so we weren't happy about our performance there. And we put up 45 against Streetsboro. And at halftime, it was kind of just play the same. We played good in the first half.
Yeah.
Just a couple mistakes on defense that led them to score a couple touchdowns.
And obviously, you guys know you have an explosive offense, so you never feel like you're out of a game.
Yeah.
But when did that, I guess, start for you guys? Obviously, for you, probably started down in the Pee-wees, playing with the same group of guys, playing with Walter, and that where you probably felt like you were never out of a game. Just let's talk about the explosive offense that you guys have. I mean, obviously, you're a big part of it, Walter, and even Carter as well.
Yeah, we got guys everywhere, so we can basically go anywhere with the ball. I mean, I've been playing with them since, second grade, so I've had firsthand experience.
Yeah, it's awesome that you guys have had that sort of that connectivity for so long. And I think in any good team, that's what you're seeing. And again, whether it's football or basketball, softball, baseball, wrestling, all of our programs, we try to start you guys as early as possible and get you playing together with the idea that by the time you're a senior, you guys are just, each other so well that everything's sort of just second nature. You're not having to think about things. You just go out there and play, in this case, football. And so let's talk about, obviously, you guys play both ways. So I know you talked about the Struthers game, 3-0. Not a great offensive game for us. Hats off to Struthers. They did a great job. They game planned well. I think they had a good plan of keeping the ball out of our hands. But that means our defense had to step up as well. And both of you guys are huge parts of our defense as well. So let's just talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball with Coach Niedzwiecki. And, that was a shutout. We had to have a shutout that game or we may be going home. How is our mindset defensively? What is he looking for? How is it fun to play for him as a coordinator? I know I'm around. When I'm around him, he's a pretty intense guy.
Yeah, Coach Niedzwiecki is a really good coach. He's probably the best coach I've ever had.
Yeah.
And he just got our defense ready all year. And during the Struthers game, it put our offense in an uncomfortable position, only being up 3 points when we usually score a lot of points. And we just had trust in each other and got it done.
Well, I know having 2 shutdown corners on either side, if you're on one side and Vince is on the other, or you're moving around at safety, I mean, our defensive backfield is hard to throw on us, but hard to run as well. And Carter, that's sort of where you come into play from your linebacker position. What made that Struthers game, so we seem to be clicking on all cylinders? Like, they never passed our 40-yard line, maybe 35-yard line. What was your mindset going into that Struthers game from a defensive side of things?
Well, I actually didn't play linebacker that game.
Okay.
I was playing a little bit of D-end.
Okay.
We call it Rhino.
Right.
And so we were just getting movement on the ball on the deep line, and that was really messing up their line, so they couldn't really get anywhere with the ball. So that really helped.
Yeah, and they didn't really have a passing attack, as I mentioned. And then, so is that a Rhino defense then? Is that something we would run a lot of different times throughout the year, or was that special Struthers type of defense?
Well, we ran it against Kirtland. This is like a run defense.
Okay.
So we ran it against Glenville as well. So it really helps against
Okay.
run teams.
Mr. Rockwell mentioned the secondary that you guys have, but for you being a linebacker, what have you learned from Owen McCoon over the 2 years that you've been around him?
He hits hard. He hits hard.
So were you a scout team guy as a freshman then, and you had to go against him? So you know firsthand what Owen can bring to the table then, right? You've probably been up close and personal with Owen a couple of different times.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk let's recap our seniors, Luke, and then we'll talk a little bit about, again, you mentioned you since second grade, but we have 14 seniors in our class. They've accomplished a lot. First and foremost, the state championship, undefeated season, 16-0 last year, 49 wins, 8 losses. That's an 86% winning percentage, multiple playoff games each season, and then, we had some really, fun games this year, and again, both overtime games. The two losses that we had, both overtime games, both against defending state champs.
Yeah.
Division 4 Glenville, Division 6 Kirtland, and then we're sort of stuck. Last year we were D5, so we're right there with both schools. But let's just talk about your seniors and your connection, your friendships with those guys, and what you're going to miss most about playing with them every Friday.
Yeah, like I said, we started in second grade, and we got to see each other grow throughout the years and stuff like that. And I'm just going to miss them because all the memories we made together, and it's going to be kind of hard transitioning out of that and going to college and leaving them all behind. So,
Did you know playing with these guys that you're going to have multiple D1 college prospects going out after, obviously in second grade, you're probably not thinking about that at that point, but just seeing where you guys came from and how good you guys were so young?
Yeah, I kind of say in probably middle school, I could see it happening. I mean, we really pushed each other, and the connection was there, so we wanted to be the best we could for our team. Yeah, so.
So let's talk a little bit about, so you talking about middle school and you're realizing, hey, we've got a special thing going, and believe me, I get it, the youth, and you've got the Super Bowls and this team and that team and all, that's fun, right? That's good time. And then middle school comes along and you're like, all right, hey, this could be something, really special down the road, not knowing. That's the thing about middle school athletics. You never know, what a 7th or an 8th grader is going to turn into from an athlete standpoint. But you guys get that feeling. So you bust your tails in the weight room and with Coach Christinger. Let's talk about our program that we have here a little bit, and both of you guys can give perspective on this and what Coach Christinger brings to the table. And again, you guys are multiple sport athletes. Carter plays basketball and baseball. Luke's a stud baseball player for us as well. And what has it brought to enhance our program here and given us the ability to sort of take these next steps and jump to a state championship and jump to where a baseball, we played an Elite 8 game last year? How has Coach Christinger helped that?
Yeah, Coach Christinger is a really good strength coach. I mean, having the opportunity to take a class and take strength during school helps us a lot. And I'd say, so going into my junior year, Christinger worked really hard with me, and he helped me a lot. He dropped my 40 down by 0.6, I'd say. So he's really helped me out. I think I was sophomore year, I was running a 5.1. Okay. And now I'm running 4.3.
Yeah, it's crazy. You've really jumped off the page. And when we had Vince Tomasic in here 3 or 4 weeks ago, same thing for Vince. He saw great strides from the program that Coach had worked with him on, and he goes from the end of this was his sophomore year into his junior year, where he could not dunk. Not that I say he couldn't jump, but he also grew a little bit. But then he was jumping out of the gym. I see him in summer league, and he's dunking the ball with 2 hands out of nowhere. And I'm like, who is that kid? And that's just the type of growth that you see, I think, a lot of the time in that class. So we encourage our kids, and we're very fortunate. I think our Board of Education, our administration, Dr. Thompson, Mr. Porcello, have bought into the program that we came to them with 7 or 8 years ago and said, hey, this is what we want to do. We've got multiple sport athletes. Throughout our programs, we want them to be able to work out during the day. And it's great if you want to play badminton or kickball or anything like that. And phys ed, that's more maybe elementary school stuff. Let's take that next step and really broaden our horizons here. And they sort of we're in 100%. So not many schools out there. There are more and more. Number one, that will pay a strength coach a supplemental contract to do it, and then also to incorporate it. We're very fortunate. He's a PE teacher and a gym teacher, but now our PE classes are that strength and fitness, strength and speed, whatever you want to call it. That's our focus, and we encourage all of our kids to take those all of our athletes, because now you can get your workout in during the day, and now you can go to practice after school. You don't have to stay after practice. They can go home, get their homework done, and things like that. Carter, what have you seen? Now, you're a younger athlete. You're right in that realm. Obviously, you made great strides this year from freshman to sophomore. How do you envision the class with Coach Christinger and the strength training and the speed training, agility stuff that we do there helping you in the future?
Well, we started like when we were like 7th grade.
Yeah.
So he's been pushing us ever since that. And I was running like a 5.6 40, and now I'm down to a 4.9.
Okay.
So he's really pushed us, helped us get stronger, faster.
All right, so if Luke was running a 5.1 his sophomore year and you're running a 4.9, you should be like at a 4.1 in a couple years then, if I do the math right, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
For you, Carter, was there one spot where, being a freshman last year, that you wanted to improve your game coming into this year? I mean, obviously, maybe strength and speed, maybe that's part of it, but was there an area that you ended last season and said, you know what, I need to improve on this for my sophomore year?
I'd say probably just getting bigger. My size last year was not good, going up against like 6'1", 250 linemen that I'm going to have to hit. And he pushed me to get stronger, faster, gain more weight to push. Doesn't matter.
All right, so what was your, well, it doesn't have to be a win or a loss. What was, we'll start with Luke. What was your favorite game to play in all year long? I mean, obviously you've got the Kirtland game as a 3 overtime. We had another OT. What was your most memorable game just from this year alone?
I would say the Kirtland game.
Yeah.
I feel like the energy at the Kirtland game was unmatched going to was it double?
Triple. Yep.
Triple overtime. I mean, obviously we didn't get it done, but
Yeah.
that was probably my favorite game to play in.
And it was, literally came down to the last play
Yeah.
of the game. 2-point play, and Laverty runs around there and makes a play at the end, and it was very close. I mean, it could have gone either way. That call could have gone either way. Carter, how about you? What was your favorite, most memorable game from this year?
I feel like the Streetsboro game, coming off a 3-point
Yeah.
game, I really had to get some rust off, and I ended up scoring 3 touchdowns that game. So
Yeah, 45 points on the board, 3 big touchdowns in the second half for the Pirates, and we sort of pulled away in that one. Our defense pitches the shutout in that second half and got us to that big game with Glenville. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about, we'll talk about Luke, some of your future stuff. Let's talk a little college recruiting, and then Carter, we'll get to some of your future stuff as well, which is your next 2 years here as a Perry Pirate. Luke, what was that recruiting experience like for you? How did it start out? I mean, as you said yourself, your sophomore year, you're injured a little bit. You have a breakout junior year. Coach Keswich mentioned, your touchdown in the state championship game to sort of kick things off there for us in a tight ball game. And it's a bomb from Walter to you. And so now here you are. Your times are off the charts. Your size is excellent. You're 6'1", 6'2", almost 200 pounds. Your speed. How did the recruiting process work for you? When did it really start to pick up?
I would say it started to pick up after my junior year.
Okay.
I would be going to football camps and stuff like that, and I'd be running 40s, just blowing the coaches out of the water and stuff like that. And then that's when I really started to get noticed. Before that, there really wasn't anything.
Yeah. So it can happen. I mean, not that a junior year is late, but it can happen as late as, late in your junior season and into your senior year.
Yeah.
And so where did it start? Where was your first offer from? Was it Youngstown
yeah,
State?
Youngstown State.
Youngstown State. And then anybody else? And then Akron. You've got your Akron hoodie on. We'll sort of recap that day. Earlier today, this is Wednesday. It's the one day we might be in school this week, by the way. We've had a little crazy weather. We'll talk about that here coming up as well. But it's Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday morning, we have our signing day ceremony. You sign. You're going to be in Akron Zip. How did you end up there? And did you strongly consider any other offers? Or, I know it's back in this crazy world of college athletics and scholarships now with NIL and different things and signing days and different dates. We all have to adjust and adapt to that. How did it work out for you? Are you happy where you ended up?
Yeah, so I went down to Akron this weekend.
Okay.
So I really got to grow with the coaches and stuff. And
Awesome.
I just had a connection with the coaches, like ever since I met them and stuff.
Yeah.
And I really liked them, and I feel like I can be the best player at Akron. So
Okay.
Well, the nice part is Coach Moorhead, offensive mind. I mean, I did a couple of their games this year for ESPN, and his mind offensively is just amazing. And I'm sure you'll be in multiple spots where he's going to make you successful. What was it about him that maybe sold you on Akron?
yeah, like his offense, he's been to big places before
Yes.
this and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my receiver coach, he's been around guys. He coached Larry Fitzgerald, Andre
Okay.
Johnson in college, so he knows
Wow.
what he's talking about. And I feel like that's the best place I will develop as a receiver.
And, from a lot of the MAC schools, Akron is one of the nicest facilities of the ones within the MAC, at least here in the Ohio portion of it. It will be a very nice fit once you get upon campus.
Yeah.
And so Akron played Toledo. That's where Walter's going, and Akron came out victorious. Were you talking smack to Walter about that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
After the game, he wasn't saying anything. He was saying stuff. He was saying stuff before, but I had to talk my smack after the game.
Yeah, heck yeah. Because, Akron was a definite underdog going in,
Yeah.
home underdog in that game, but Toledo came to town and Akron took them out. So I think we wish you nothing but the best of luck. I said that earlier today at the ceremony. We're very proud of you, and it's going to be fun to watch your journey over the next 4 or 5 years. Whether, again, like I said earlier, Maction on a Tuesday or Wednesday night or wherever you may go, we're going to be watching and rooting you on, Luke. So congratulations
Thank you.
on a great career at Perry on a football field. You've got a baseball season left.
Maybe track too.
And a little bit. Well, I'm not shocked that Coach Richards would want you to run some track. Your older brother did that and found time to do both. And we want to support, again, multi-sport athletes. We love them. So I'm not shocked that you might do some track. Chances are, I bet you're going to be pretty darn good on the track. So awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Well, congratulations again. That'll be exciting spring. We'll see. I know Coach Platt and his baseball staff, they're extremely excited about our run last year and into what is going to be a fun spring for us this year. So congratulations. Best of luck with that, and good luck at Akron as well.
Thank you.
And then Carter, we'll sort of close things out with you. You're going to play baseball as well, and you're in basketball right now, correct? How is that going from football shape to basketball shape? I know everybody says there's a little bit different things. So how are you transitioning there?
It's a little rough. We had like a 3-day break. We had a scrimmage on last Tuesday, and that was my first time like picking up basketball since like summer.
Yeah.
So it's been tough getting back into basketball shape, running up and down, and yeah.
A little bit more wind needed in basketball
Yeah.
than not as much physicalness, but I know Coach Ice-Fano doesn't mind that either, but you got to be in shape.
What is it like going from a coach like Coach Gesowich over to a coach like Coach Isofano?
Coach G is kind of like more laid off. He'll have like his days where he has to get like everyone on track. Isofano, you have to be on track every day, and you have to go your hardest every day.
Awesome. And then baseball season for you as well. That again, back to Luke. We'll look for some excitement out of the Pirates on the ball diamond here in the spring. And then what's your plan? You've got 2 years left of football, so not discounting your basketball season as a sophomore or baseball. So really 2 2/3 years left. You've got a long time left. But what are you looking forward to most for your junior and senior years, the rest of your career?
Taking the role of like leadership, coaching up the younger guys like Luke did me, and being their role models, kind of.
That's awesome, and that's what we want. I mean, ultimately, again, I think our senior class this year, we're talking football with these guys, has been amazing. They were a huge part of it last year with only 5 or 6 seniors last year. Our junior class last year had to really be on top of it, and you guys were. So I think that's a great goal. I love it, and we're going to look forward to watching it for the next couple of years.
Thank you.
And your guys' sophomore group can kind of rival what this senior class did. So in that senior group, the sophomore group that you have, like who are you expecting maybe to have a breakout year next year?
Luke's younger brother, Chase.
Yeah, there you go. We'll keep the Savon chain going here. All right. All right, gentlemen, before we leave and before we let you go, again, we thank you for coming on here. It's not always everybody's favorite thing to do. So we love that you guys were able to come in and share some insight with us today. Really unique insight and sort of background to things. Some more background and some more insight as to who you are, maybe not from an athletic standpoint, but just some of your favorite things in life or what you like outside of sports. So just some random questions for you, and you guys answer them. There's no wrong answers. We'll start with Luke, and then we'll go over to Carter here at the end. Luke, let's start with your favorite food.
I'd have to say a cheeseburger.
A cheeseburger.
Can't go wrong with it.
Okay. And any place in particular you like your cheeseburger from? You got a favorite spot or just any cheeseburger?
It doesn't matter. Where.
Okay. Checkers is my personal favorite, but that's for another day. All right. How about favorite subject in school?
I'm a math guy. I'm
Math.
really good at it.
Okay. Got a lot of math this year. Shout out to the math department. Favorite movie or series or television show?
I like the Rocky series.
Okay.
Saw all
Awesome.
those movies.
Yep, that's excellent. And then your favorite memory from Perry Athletics. It can be from grade 1 to grade 12. What are you going to say might be your favorite memory of all time here?
I would say traveling to Arizona with the baseball team last year.
That's awesome. Good. And I think we're going on another trip, I think.
Yeah, Florida.
Florida, Cocoa Beach. Here we
Yes.
come. I think baseball and softball are heading there. Not board approved yet, but we're getting there. It'll be board approved, and we're looking forward. That'll be a fun trip for you guys as well. Any hobbies away from football or baseball?
I like to fish,
Okay,
so I
that's
do that in
cool.
my free time.
Fish. And if you could visit any place in the world, money's not an object. Where are you heading?
I'd say Paris.
Okay.
Paris. Yeah.
Cool. Very good. All right, Carter, your turn. You've heard these questions, so it's a little bit of a cheat, but we'll go with your favorite food.
I'm gonna say pasta.
Pasta. Again, any particular pasta place?
No,
No.
homemade.
Homemade. Mom's sauce. Okay, that's a good answer. Favorite subject in school?
I'm gonna say English.
That is one of our few English
Yeah.
answers. Coach Stavar will be very proud of you.
I actually had Bezic.
Oh, you have Bezig. That's right. You're in Bezig. It's supposed to be in Bezig's class right now. So Bezig and Stavar. Shout out to our English department. That's good. Favorite movie or television show or series?
I'm gonna have to go with Luke here. Rocky
Okay.
series.
Like it?
Mhm.
And your favorite memory so far? Obviously, you've got a couple years left here, but what will you take away from Perry Athletics grades 1 through 10 so far?
I'm gonna say when we won state, that was probably the most memorable.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. Hobby away from athletics.
I like to play video games.
Okay. And where are you visiting? Anywhere in the world, money's not an object.
I'm gonna say Italy.
Okay. Italy is a good spot as well. All right, gentlemen. You mentioned cheeseburgers, or no, you mentioned cheeseburgers. There's no pasta at DQ, but enjoy your cheeseburger and your Blizzard at DQ. We appreciate you guys coming on. Congratulations on a great career. Congratulations on what's yet to come, Carter. We're looking forward to it. Gentlemen, thanks for having us. You guys can exit right out to stage right here, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Mr. Winters. Yeah, two studs, obviously, in multiple sport athletes for us, and just good kids as well, and exciting to see their futures.
Yeah, two I think we'll see back here before the end of the year, now that the
Sure.
winter sports are right around the corner, or starting up, I guess, and the spring sports, I guess, will be right
Yeah,
around the
and
corner.
I know they both were a little nervous. They're not the most talkative guys. They let their actions prove
Yes.
themselves on the field of play, so to speak, but they did a great job today, so I appreciate them coming on.
No, that was both of them great, and it again, we've talked about it a couple times. It's nice to get to know
Yeah.
all of the players too. You know,
Yeah.
you watch them every Friday or whatever day they might play during the week, across the line of sports here at Perry, and it's nice to, instead of just streaming and seeing them from afar, getting to see them up close and personal and be able to interact a little bit.
Yeah.
It's another side that you don't get to see all the time.
Yeah, no doubt. It's awesome that, because it's, again, you just watch, if you're watching a stream or you're watching even a game in person, you don't know what these kids like or what makes them tick a little bit. But I credit all of our athletes. We've got kids that will run through brick walls for our coaches, and they work their tails off. They do whatever Coach Christinger asks them to do, so they're working hard nonstop. And yeah, we're in a really good spot right now. And a little bit of a slow time as we transition, as we've said, from fall to winter. So, we didn't do a pod last week. Certainly, had we beat Glenville, we would have been talking about maybe the Final Four game or something. But it was a good week to be off and sort of reset here. And now that wraps up our fall season. Close the book on that chapter, so to speak, and we're moving on here to winter sports as we sit here on December 5th or 6th.
Yeah, I'll save the girls basketball for last. But
Yeah.
As the winter sports start, obviously you've already had a couple of hurdles already before we jump into talking about each one. But I know earlier this week swim had their meet canceled. So as an athletic director, with cancellations, with snow, with school being called off, just take us through a day and what you have to do. I mean, I'm guessing once the school's canceled, you're then with the next AD trying to find a mutual day off.
Yeah, certainly. And swim was our first casualty of the season, of the snow season, so to speak. Now, at the same time, I've not seen a storm quite like this
Right.
maybe in my time as an athletic director. I mean, 40 some inches of snow. The last one I remember was back in the late 90s, and I was only coaching then. I wasn't an AD, and so it's certainly it's just crazy. You have to get in contact with the other school. We have to get in contact with, if we're going somewhere, transportation department, and obviously Tony Ovens helps me a ton with all of that. Our coaches are very communicative as well, and I give credit to Dr. Thompson and his philosophy on what we can do on snow days. If we can't come to school, we understand that there's reasons for that, safety-wise. And, most schools will say, we're not going to practice today. We play ours by ear. And so I'm happy to say that even over the last couple of days, we've gotten some practices in. They're non-mandatory. If you can't make it, you can't make it. We certainly understand. But it's hard when you take a week off.
Yes.
And, I know North, where we have girls basketball tonight, North coming here to play. That game, I'm still waiting for a text, is up in the air at this time because actually, no, we are on.
There you go.
The game is on. So that is good. We got that text about 20 minutes ago. So yes, the North and Perry girls basketball play tonight, but obviously just kind of that. We've been in contact all day, going back and forth. I'm like, we're open. We're going to play if you guys can make it to us. And North, to their credit, is coming here tonight, so that's good. But yeah, it's just constant communication with everybody, officials, ticket takers, ticket sellers, game table workers, scoreboard operators. The list goes on and on of people that you need to talk to.
So that's good to know that it is the girls basketball on for tonight, which we'll get into here in a moment. But as winter sports season kicks off, we kind of touched on swimming already. So let's start there. Obviously, they've been practicing for a couple weeks now. First meet gets canceled. When are they up? When do we get to see the Pirates in the pool?
Yeah, so Friday night we'll host. Now again, as we sit here on Wednesday, it's the 4th, not the 5th or the 6th, like I said, but it's the 4th of December. We're scheduled to swim against Chardon on Friday night, the 6th. We'll see where this new storm is going to impact us. Hopefully we're in school. Hopefully we're able to swim that night. And then they'll go right back to the Hilltopper Invitational, which will be held at Spire on Saturday. So for some reason, if we're not in school on Friday, we will not have an event on the day of a snow day. We'll get a practice in here or there. But hopefully by Saturday, we're able to go out to Spire and compete if we can't get Friday in. So, and then we host our Big Perry Invitational here. It's always the second week of January. This year's January 11th, where, usually we have between 400 and 500 swimmers for the day between the boys and the girls invite. So that's only a month away. It's crazy to say that, but that'll be here before we know it as well.
Is emailing a little bit with Coach Trentinelli and the wrestling team earlier this week. They have their kickoff event coming up, I believe, this weekend for both boys and girls wrestling.
They do. So North Coast is where the boys will be. That's out at Independence. They do a great job. We've had a scrimmage so far. And I actually hats off to Coach Trentinelli and his crew of people. They had a new event here over the weekend, even though it was a holiday weekend. On Friday, we had an alumni wrestling event, and I think it was pretty darn cool. I wasn't able to be here. However, having our alumni come back and sort of wrestle each other, and take on and relive those glory days, so to speak. They had a lot of fun with it. We didn't charge admission or anything like that. Just a great event to get everybody together. That said, they had over $1,600 in donations from the event that they're going to go back to help the wrestling program. So something we've never done before. And I know just talking to some of the guys, they had a great time watching the old timers, if you will. And I know I look like it's going to be a something that they do year in and year out. So and then we'll get started this week for real with North Coast, and that's one of the biggest tournaments in Northeast Ohio for the entire season. It's sort of the kickoff every year, and our girls will be at the Ashton Hund Battle by the Lake. So girls wrestling has taken off.
Yes.
We have 4 or 5 wrestlers now on our high school team. We have around the same number for our middle school team. So we're constantly trying to grow and promote that sport as well, and tie it in with the boys program, while at the same time, looking at their 2 schedules. Some of their events are together. Some of them are separate. We need to find and get creative with tournaments on the girls' side, and I give our coaches credit. They're willing to go anywhere in the state of Ohio to give our girls matches, and that's what we're looking forward to for both boys and girls wrestling. And then we'll have Pin City here in a month. Pin City's always the first weekend in January. Swim is always, the invite is always the second weekend in January. So you know where you can find me the first 2 Saturdays of January.
Well, and of course, the way you made a couple, the girls' schedule, which we'll talk about, they're going to have backloaded home games.
Yeah.
The boys' schedule, I haven't, dissected it that closely yet, but it seemed like a lot of the winter sports are going to be home a lot between January, February here this year for the Pirates. But sticking with the boys' basketball, we kind of mentioned it with Carter. Now that football's over, they're getting practices in, getting scrimmages in, and they're going to be coming up on Wednesday, December 11th with their first game, which is also the home opener versus Orange.
Home opener versus Orange next Wednesday, and it's a CVC game right off the bat. The league sets those dates and picks those dates, so it's one of those things you never really want to open up with a conference opponent because you don't know where you're at. But again, our football run, we're not going to have any non-conference games before it. We're going to backload those games into January and February. But I know they're excited and they're anxious to get going. Anxious a little bit about this weather as well, causing some havoc. If for some reason we're not in school on Thursday, they have a big scrimmage scheduled. We'd have to postpone that probably until Saturday. So it's just trying to find time, with the Thanksgiving holiday in there and then this weather. It's been a challenge for all of our coaches to make sure that the kids are staying as crisp as possible. But anytime you take multiple days off, it's going to be a bit of a struggle coming back into the gym or into the pool or into the wrestling room to get back and get acclimated again. Sort of, not starting from scratch, but sort of pressing a reset button,
And not to get too far ahead because they haven't even tipped off yet, but expanded divisions, how does that look? I know you mentioned Orange being a conference game, so that's a switch of within the CVC, within the division.
It is. So last year, both boys and girls basketball played in more of the Lake Division, which you're going to see, more teams out east, Madison, Geneva, the Ashtabula schools, and Conneaut. This year, we're back into the Chagrin Division for both groups, which is your prototypical schools that have always been in the CVC: Orange, Chagrin Falls, West Geauga, Hawken, Lutheran West in there on the girls' side as well. So, we're looking forward to it. Those are old-time rivalries for us. That's who we're used to playing. Not last year's boys' conference basketball schedule was awesome, and so were the girls. Our games with Madison were very close. Our Geneva was very close. And I think, I can't even remember, were we like tri-champs or something on the boys' side? Because every game was within a couple of points, it seemed. Every game, there were no blowout games. Mm-hmm. Every game was a 2 to 3 possession game. And so, hopefully that's the same, and we're able to sort of recreate some of that. But it was a lot of fun last year from a conference perspective.
And this is probably a better question for Coach Ice, but division-wise, are staying in 3, dropping down to 4? How does that shake now with the expanded divisions in basketball?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I think we like where we're at. It's there's always going to be good teams in there no matter
Right.
what. You're never going to run away from everybody. I think from a boys' side, I know we're happy that Richmond Heights and Lutheran East. Lutheran East was the one that was going to potentially. They were in our division last year as D3. They are in now 5. But it is unique. I mean, this whole 7-division thing, and we can talk to Coach Infalvi here in a little bit, it creates, probably schools that we've never played before
Sure.
from a postseason perspective, because some of them would have been D4 last year already. If we were 3, when we've been 2, moving around different things. So we've had to, again, condense the schedule as well. Like, that's the other thing people don't realize. Because of 7 divisions, we're starting the sectional tournament an entire week earlier. So we had to move, our Gilmore game is the perfect example on the girls' side. That was the last game of our regular season, but now we'll be playing a sectional game that day, potentially, and so we had to move that up. So it's going to present challenges like that and moving some games, but I think all in all, it's a great thing the OHSAA has done in expanding the divisions. I think we're more in line with what you see across the country. Sometimes people forget that there are 50 states, and we're just one of them, and we're going to be more in par with a lot of those states that offer, in terms of numbers of teams in a division that win a championship. We're going to be more in par with most of the country. I think, honestly, we had, way more teams in divisions when you only had 4 divisions in basketball than what you see across the country. So kudos to the. I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, it's a money grab and it's this and that. And I'm not saying that they're not going to make more money
Sure.
with more divisions. They are. But at the same time, we're going to be able to honor and more teams and more players and more coaches because it's set up this way. So I know we're excited about it from that standpoint.
Yeah, I think you could see the success on the football side since they expanded those divisions,
Right.
A decade ago or whatever the number is. That the success there, seeing more champions, seeing more playoff games, and teams that are in it a lot further into the season.
I didn't see one team last year, including our team, that were upset because they were division whatever.
Yes.
They were state champions. Period. End of story. And that's what I think the OHSA is trying to do when it's all said and done. So.
Good. That only leaves one more winter sport to talk about.
Yeah. So let's bring up our girls basketball coach, Coach Infalvi. Come on up. We'll get this chair out of the way. Well, Coach Infalvi, we just found out our game is on for tonight.
Yeah, I
So
heard.
North is coming out tonight. We're a little tenuous there. We're trying to make a decision on whether they could make it or not. Right now, the game is on, and that's good news. We can get this one in because Friday looks like it's already been canceled with Edgewood. Edgewood is called off school the rest of the week. And we'll see where we're at on Thursday and Friday, but the good news is we can play tonight.
Yeah, no, that is good. I was worried about it. We've been off for a little bit,
Yeah.
game-wise, so it's nice to get back out there tonight. So we're looking forward to it.
Ben, before you walked in, I was talking to TJ about the challenges of practice is getting canceled, school being
Yeah.
closed. But for a coach, obviously, I know you probably wanted to get back at it Friday, couple of days where you weren't able to practice. So, take us through that where the snow's coming, but you need to get the girls together. How tough is that before you were finally able to get a hold of them on Monday?
Yeah, it is a challenge because, you come up with a plan. We thought we were going to have 4 days of practice before our next game. And especially early in the season, those practice times are valuable. So, we kind of had a 4-day plan of some things we wanted to kind of get back to basics and work on, some things that we needed to put in for our next series of games coming forward. So you just got to keep adjusting and keep making those changes, and then kind of have to, shrink down some of the things that we wanted to do. We still got in some of the stuff we needed to, and even too, coming off of 5 days of not being in the gym, there's little rust builds up again, so we got to get that off. Things aren't as crisp, so yeah, it's tough to manage that part, but with snow days and stuff in the past, it's things that we get used to, and have to adjust on the fly a little bit. Got a really good, feel for that during COVID years too.
Yeah.
Constantly adjusting and having to be, ready for things on the spur of the moment. So I felt we were prepared. We had a couple good days in there coming in. So I'm just glad we can play today.
I know, because I'm like just looking at it. Like I'm looking at our schedule as we were just talking about. It's condensed already because of the early sectional.
Yeah.
Moving sectionals up a week, and so now we've got to just compact these things. And when Coach and I talked earlier today, like we'll be looking if we cancel both games this week, we'll be looking at 3 games a week or 4 games a week or something like that. So I'm thrilled we can play. It's our home opener.
Yeah.
If we can get this podcast out, you'll hear it come out and support the girls team tonight and our home opener as we host North. I know Gilmore. We started out hot over at Gilmore at the Gilmore gym. I wasn't there. I was getting updates. I'm like, wow, all right, let's go. And then, but they're a very good program. And, somebody that we actually had scheduled at the end of our schedule,
Right.
our mindset was getting us ready to face some really good competition in the postseason. And, here we go, Chardon, whatever. And that's who we had on our calendar. And then Gilmore's in that spot. But let's talk about that game a little bit. And, hey, we came out gangbusters and hung with a very good basketball team.
Yeah, no, I was real happy with the way we started that game. It was kind of the best way we thought, both offensively and defensively. We really executed some of the things we did well in the preseason. Came out good, felt really good. We kind of got worn down a little bit. That happens sometimes in early season games. And we kind of hit a wall offensively. I thought defensively we did some good things still in that. And, it's just one of those things. Every time we come off and don't win or don't play well, I'm pretty frustrated. And then going back and watching the film and, you see a lot of things like, oh, it was right here. We did this well. We just didn't get this or, little things like that. So I always feel better after watching the film. Like, sometimes you're still kicking yourself, but the things that were there are easily correctable, things that we can work on, things that we can continue to get better on. There wasn't anything where I'm like, oh, we just have no chance with that. So that was good. And Gilmore went through some streaks and hit some shots at the right times and just happened that way. And but I was happy. Both our first 2 games, our effort and intensity was good. And if we have that going, the rest of the stuff will start to fall into place.
Yeah, then of course in your second game you played another close game with the Riverside. Maybe a little bit colder of a shooting night for you guys, but right there in that game from start to finish.
Yeah, that was a little frustrating because I actually thought we played really good basketball, except for except for making shots. I mean, to be honest with you, we ended up, shooting 19% from the field overall. And, it's just one of those things that gym's tough to shoot in for one of them. And 2, like we had a few that were in and outs.
Yeah.
Rolled
in, rolled out.
Yeah. We had, we held them to 38.
Yeah.
They didn't make it 2 in the second half. I thought we did a good job of that part of it. We did a pretty good job of rebounding. We took 12 more shots than they did.
Yeah.
We only had 10 or 11 turnovers, which is really good. It was just putting the ball in the hoop, and it just unfortunately wasn't the best time for it, but that happens.
And how difficult is that? Obviously, being a coach for so many years that sometimes when they go in, you hit 15 in a row.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you miss, it's just how that game just kind of fell. Where if one goes in, maybe it turns the tide and you hit the next 5.
Yeah, shooting could be contagious for sure. You kind of see it, and too, like you miss some shots, and mentally some things go through your head, like more of it's instead of it's going in to I hope I don't miss this one or that type of thing. So that all plays to it. And typically, like you go through spurts like that in a game. It just lasted the whole game for us, and like I said though, I thought our effort, intensity, and hustle and physicality was really good in the game. It just unfortunately happened that way.
Yeah, and I loved our defensive effort. You had said going into that game that they shoot a lot of threes, and we need to be able to defend the three. You also said they didn't score a two in the second half. I mean,
Yeah.
it says a lot about our defense. I think we closed out well when they were taking their threes. They didn't have any wide open threes.
Yeah.
and they made their fair share, but.
Well, that was the other thing about us is I thought our shot selection was good.
Yeah.
A lot of our threes we missed were inside-out passes, open shots. I didn't think we forced shots.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that part too.
Good. And what do the North Rangers bring to the table tonight? Obviously, a third non-conference game before
Yeah.
we get into the conference schedule. But what are we looking at here from this North team that you guys?
They have a solid squad across the board,
Yeah.
but they're really led by kind of their highest scorer, Dovita, number 11. She's a taller girl, but she shoots outside. She can drive it to the hole. She had 24 in their opener.
Okay.
I think she ended up 5 for 10 from the three-point line.
Oh.
They have a couple other girls that can, shoot it in here or there. They're a very good defensive team. They run a lot of different zones. They're pretty long. They get spread out, and they're super active. I'm really impressed by their defense. That's kind of our big key the last couple days is working on that and seeing where we could take advantage. But I think we can do some things defensively, and I think we can do some things offensively to execute against that. So it's nice to be able to play home and get back on our home court. A lot of our early games are on the road, but it'll be nice to get back home. So I think it should be a pretty close game, and I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Yeah, Gene's got a note in here. He says 6 of the first 7 games are on the road. What is your athletic director doing to you here? I mean, that's not ideal.
Well, and part of that was a little bit of schedule shifting, and actually our Richmond Heights game got moved back to
did.
home
Yeah.
because it was home, and
It
then got
was, yeah,
switched and got
right.
back home.
Yeah.
But once we hit that too, we go on the road couple, but then right around Christmas we play home. Our 2 over Christmas break are home, which
Yeah.
is nice. We really tried to do scheduling when we worked through our schedule
Yeah.
to schedule some good opponents.
Yeah.
We have some big schools, quality schools for non-conference.
Yeah. I'm excited about our schedule.
Yeah, even right before the 23rd, right before Christmas, we play Campfield
Campfield,
at home.
yeah.
They're a really good team.
Yep.
It's nice to play them. We play Menor right after Christmas.
Yeah.
I think it's good for us, especially too. Like we had Gilmore schedule at the end of the year,
Yeah.
which I like kind of finishing with a really good team. But it's
Sure.
also good to start that way sometimes, and kind of see here it is. Here's what we need to do. Here's what we
Right.
got, and go from there. So I don't like starting 0-2.
Right.
It kills me inside.
Yeah.
But it is, it's good to play some of that good competition to start.
And then you're going to get what the nice piece is. Again, those are non-conference games,
Yeah.
right? So they count, of course, against our record. But at the same time, one of our goals here, athletic department wide, is always to be competing for CVC
Yeah.
championship year in and year out. Not that we're going to win them all the time, but we want to be competing for them. And that will start next Monday when we take to the road. We travel to Orange Monday, and then, as you said, Richmond Heights on Thursday at home. So come out to that Richmond Heights game. That is the December 12th. We're back into the Chagrin Division this year. How does that differ, in your opinion, from where we've been in the Lake Division the last year or two?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We still played some of those teams. We
Yeah.
still crossed over with Chagrin,
Yeah.
Falls, and West G the last couple years since we kind of left since the divisions rearranged in the CVC. Richmond Heights is new to us. We haven't played them. They went into the Chagrin Division last year. They're really good.
Yep.
They're returning a lot of girls from last year. Chagrin Falls is really, really good. They brought all their girls back from last year. So we're going to play some really good, tough teams. And, I enjoyed our time in the Lake Division, and we'll still play a couple of those crossovers. But I do like that Chagrin Division. I like going out that way. West G is always solid. And, Orange has a really good superstar player. Hawken, we haven't played them in the last couple years, but they always play hard. They always get after it. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And you kind of mentioned experience. You kind of have that again this year.
Yeah.
You graduated 2 seniors, but now you have 4 returners coming back this year. So let's just talk about your senior class this year and what those 4 girls bring.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is they played together for a long time, even going up through youth travel and things like that. They're all really good kids. They're all very coachable. They work hard. And I'm starting to see their leadership really kind of take over. It's something I think that they've developed over the past couple years. Their freshman and sophomore years, they had some good leaders ahead of them. So they've learned those lessons. And I think they've kind of seen, too, what the team chemistry piece really means. We have to get that and be able to mesh everyone. Sometimes kids worry so much about this person or that person coming to take my spot or this person that. We want to compete every single day in practice, but we're a team. We want everyone to be good and be successful because that makes us better as a team. And I think they're starting to see that and see the benefits of that. So I really like our senior class. It's a really good group of kids, and they're good leaders for us. And and I think they show that on the court too.
And the other advantage this year, numbers within the system, full JV squad this year. So how can that benefit you? Because obviously the 8th grade group coming up should be another nice class to add to the stable here.
Yeah. Our numbers are a big thing. Last year was tough. It struggled. We only had 12 on the whole roster. It hurts a lot of things. It hurts some development in practice. It hurts, obviously, our depth playing. Some of the things that we're used to doing and wanted to do in games and situations, we couldn't because of some of our depth. If we got into foul trouble, it hurt us a little bit, things like that. I think our depth piece is better this year. And our depth is with some young players, some sophomores and couple freshmen, and that takes some time too. It's one of those things too. Like you want to do a lot of things, and hey, we can do this and this and this, but the season is long, and I've always been a believer all my years as being a head coach, both on the boys' side and girls' side, is I don't sacrifice wins, but I know it takes time. And, so we're not going to see where we can be yet at the beginning of the year. Our goal is to keep getting better and to keep working at it and developing that. We want to play really good basketball at the end of the year, be peaking there and continuing to go up. And I think we have that. Sometimes it's a little frustrating early on, but getting kids experiences in different ways and then practice makes a huge difference, and I think we'll definitely see the benefits of that moving forward.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on. Like you said, it's a long season, so I'm sure we're going to have you on again a couple of more times at least, just to give updates and see where we're at as far as the season goes. And we'll be off the pod for a couple of weeks at winter, but we'll keep playing through winter break, and it's like we said, it's a long year, but we're looking forward to it. Best of luck tonight against North and the rest of the year.
All right, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
All right.
Appreciate it. Coach and
Thanks for having
Falvey, girls basketball will be taking on Orange next Monday. North is orange and black as well,
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking about. But North Rangers tonight here at Spectator Gymnasium. That match is on.
Yeah, and if you can't make it out, streaming tonight. So if you can't make it out, you can watch the live stream coming up at 6:45 tonight.
6:45. It always ends up being probably closer to 7.
Yeah.
It's a ongoing joke in the CVC. The officials want it listed at 6:45. It rarely actually starts at 6:45, but when the JV game is over, which that's a 5:30 start, we'll do our warm-ups, do our intros, and here we go. So, all right, that'll wrap it up for week 15 of Walk the Plank, the podcast of the Perry Athletic Department. We appreciate you joining us. We'll be back next week, next Tuesday or Wednesday, but get us on your podcast wherever you get your podcast from. Tell Alexa to play Walk the Plank, and she'll do it for you. We appreciate you joining us. Have a great rest of the week. Stay safe out there, Pirates.